Welcome to Horror Review Sunday. Let's talk about this batshit insane movie called Madhouse. Not to be mistaken with the other 100 movies with the same title. Madhouse from 1981 from the director of Piranha 2, The Spawning, The Flying Piranhas. Yeah, that crazy flick. But yeah, this one was also called When She Was Bad, and it also had another title, There Was a Little Girl. Those would have been better titles than Madhouse because this movie does not take place in the Madhouse except for like one small scene. This is a movie that I just saw for the first time a few months ago when I did my 1981 horror movie top 10, and I had this in my top 10 horror movies for 1981, so you know I like this movie. I think this one's even more entertaining and much more rewatchable to me than Happy Birthday to Me, which is another birthday slasher. This one's a birthday slasher, kind of. I'm not sure if I would consider this a slasher for reasons I'll get into later, but this is the better birthday horror movie to me. I really enjoy this. This is more up my alley, and let's talk about why. What are the positives for Madhouse? I just love the quirky characters. This one has just such bizarre characters in it that just adds so much to the film. I love the stereotypical Asian maintenance guy who kind of reminds me of the one janitor dude from Night of the Creeps. He's screaming like a banshee. He almost kind of reminds me of that dude. The southern landlady who's just like doing this weird dance in her apartment, and her like yell when she's being chased by the killer. There's so many great quirky characters. The score was really good too. It has like elements of Friday the 13th in some spots and Slaughter High with that like beat. It's got that weird sound. I just really like it. And this one kills kids and it kills animals. You have a kitten being hung and a kid dying who's deaf. So not on camera. It's not like ultra violent or anything. But the other deaths in the movie, done by the dog and by the villain, are brutal. There's brutal animal death in the movie, so if you don't like seeing dogs get killed or cats, you're not gonna like it, but I don't care. I liked it. And the other deaths in the movie, there are some graphic kills in this movie that just linger, and they're just not realistic at all. They're very fake, but that's just part of the 80s charm. And I love that this is a like slasher with a dog. You don't really see that a whole lot. It's got classic stalking POV that you get in slasher movies, and it's just very cheesy as hell. It's it's so bizarre. The third act, it just goes off the rails. The motivations don't make a whole lot of sense, and it's just so much fun. This movie has so much rewatchability. It's got hammy, over the top acting from the killer, and I just love every minute of it. I enjoyed this movie so much. I can't say enough good about it. And I will say the lead actress in here playing the deaf school teacher, she's pretty good. Like, she has a lot of emotional scenes, and very long takes, lots of dialogue. She does a good job. As for any negatives, I would say that the movie's a bit more leisurely paced. It's not like a slasher movie pace. There's sequences that kind of go on maybe a little too long. There's a chase sequence towards the end that goes on a little too long, if you ask me. And this one doesn't have the mystery angle that I would have liked. I wish they would have played more with this premise and made it like a mystery as to, is the main girl the crazy one now? Was there a bait and switch? Like, the good twin is actually in the madhouse, and then she's actually the crazy one. I wish they would have did some kind of twist, some kind of mystery as to who the killer was, but they let you know that her twin sister, who broke out of the madhouse, is the killer from the beginning. So there's no mystery to the film. It's not a whodunit slasher, and it's got a low body count. I think maybe like 5 people die, 5 or 6. There's not a whole lot of people in the movie that die. So again, it's not like the Friday 13th with like 12 people. So it's a low body count. It could have used an extra body or two. This is a nitpick, but the crazy person who's revealed to be a killer, I don't want to say who, but it's pretty obvious now that I'm saying it. There's not a whole lot of characters in the movie, but there's a person who's revealed to be a killer in the movie also, and they're just way too crazy to have been pretending to be normal in the first 2/3. Like, they're so fucking nuts when they reveal their true colors in the third act. that you're like, there's no way that person would ever be able to function in society and act normal the way that person does in the first 2/3, just tricking the audience. It's just unbelievable to me. But that's just a nitpick. Another nitpick would be the twin sister's makeup on her face. They give her like some kind of skin disease that's slowly eating away at her face for the most part. And she's, I guess her hands too, because she's wearing like gloves, like a killer and a giallo, but it's not black leather gloves. She's wearing like fuzzy winter gloves. Her face didn't look scary to me. It just looked like makeup. It didn't look that good. It wasn't convincing that she has some kind of skin disease. So they should have did a better job making her face look extra horrifying and more realistic. But final thoughts, I think this is a highly entertaining, batshit insane birthday slasher with a dog, also a killer Rottweiler that has a freaking sinister, evil smile. Like the way it like growls, I guess it's a growl, but it shows its teeth. It looks mean as hell. It looks terrifying. The deaths are pretty good. It goes for it, man. I really enjoy this movie. I can't praise it enough. It's cheesy as hell. It's not to be taken seriously, and it has a lot of really good moments in it. So it's underrated in my opinion. Check it out. When it comes to Madhouse, I recommend you add this to your collection. Go out and buy it. So we get this opening. We have a twin sister rocking her twin in a rocking chair, and it's very dreamlike. It's just a pitch black room, so you know this isn't really happening. Like this is some kind of fantasy or dream. But we're seeing a freaking dummy get its face bashed in by a rock, and I guess we're supposed to believe that's the person, the twin daughter of whoever, because then after the dummy gets his face bashed in, it cuts back to the real actress in the chair. So we're supposed to believe that was her getting her face bashed in, but it's so unconvincing that it's a real person that you're confused at first, like, wait, is that supposed to be a dummy? So then she goes to visit her sister at the hospital because her uncle, who's the priest, is basically making her, like, you should visit her, she's your family. So she goes there, and then when she gets there, she's like, her twin sister's threatening her, like, I'm gonna punish you like I always did on your birthday, because she hates sharing the same birthday as her. I guess she just hates her sister. So yeah, now that she's getting all ugly from her skin disease, she wants to punish her sister even more on her birthday and make her look just as hideous as her. So that's her motivation. The other guy's motivation, I don't really know. It's bizarre. One thing I noticed on this viewing is that this chick's cat seems to hate her. Like, no cat meows like that when you're holding it. Like, this cat was making a noise that's basically saying, I don't know who you are, but get the fuck away from me. So I just thought that was kind of funny. And then we meet the Asian maintenance man, and he's just over the top, stereotypical Asian guy who can't really speak English very well. And then this dog kills the security guard at the Madhouse. I guess that's how the chick escapes. And you can tell every time they cut to like a fake dog, which just adds to the charm of the movie, how bad and 80s it is. It's just like a clear like puppet dog that someone's holding. And so then a little goof in the movie, this is a clear mistake. This she's doing this hearing test with these deaf kids, where she hits the table and they have to like mimic it like Simon Says, and she clearly hits her left hand down once and then her right hand 3 times or whatever, and the other guy does the wrong thing, and she's like, oh good, you did it right, Joey. It's like, no, he did not. You're fucking lying to him. How's he gonna improve on his hearing if you're lying to him? So I just thought that was freaking weird. And then the maintenance guy, his wife looks like Spock, the guy from Star Trek. She's got like the same haircut. She looks almost identical to that guy. And then when the maintenance guy gets killed, it's like the first kill in Halloween 2, where Myers just kind of just pops up, like he just bounced off a trampoline and stabs the guy, or girl in that case. In this one, it's the guy. The killer pops up out of nowhere. Like, she was just, how did he not see her right in front of him? But yeah, that was kind of a lame kill. Like, he gets stabbed in the heart, and then when she like retracts the blade out of his chest, there's like no blood on the blade except for like the tip. That whole blade would be covered in blood, but it was just the tip of the blade. Then the priest gives this sermon, and it's clearly directed at Julia. he's basically going on and on about how you should love your family and, hating your sister is a sin. And he's basically just talking straight to Julia, like, you need to be nice to your sister who is constantly threatening you and wants to kick your ass all the time and was punishing you your whole life and seems to want to kill you now. You need to be nice to her, because not being nice to her is the greatest sin of all, and you're going to go to hell. I found it odd that the priest has the, I don't know what it's called. Is it like a Hanukkah candle? I don't know what it's called. I'm not Jewish. But he had on his desk at this Catholic church the Hanukkah candle. Then we get the scene where the cat is hung. That was very surprising the first time. I was not expecting that. And then the blonde chick, I think her name's Helen, she falls downstairs and she gets eaten by the dog. The dog in this movie, I think, kills more people than the 2 slashers in it. I think the dog kills 3 people, and then the 2 villains, they kill like 1 person each. So the dog racks up a higher body count. I do find it very convenient that Julia lives in this apartment building that has only 1 other person living in it, supposedly, and that's the landlady. It's just the landlady and her. And then everything else is like dilapidated and like under construction and all just wood boards on the windows. Just looks like the ghetto. And, like it's convenient because now that there's all that empty space up there, all those rooms for her crazy sister to go hang out in for a week waiting for her birthday, So that was just plot convenience right there. But I do like the setting and the atmosphere of it. And then we get the priest revealed as the secondary villain of the movie, and just the way they reveal it is very funny. Like, he is dragging a dead body in a bag into the basement, and he asks the landlady to help him out, and then she's like, oh, this feels like a dead body or something. And he's like, it is. And he unzips it, shows her, and he's like, oh, I met this guy a few days ago, and I've just been holding on to his body. He's here to join us for the birthday party. And then he's like, I'm inviting you too. And she's like, oh, I gotta go. Like, trying to like sneak her way out. And then we get this drawn out chase sequence that's hilarious because she's the worst hider of them all. When she goes to hide underneath that bed, the blanket's not even like low enough to conceal her underneath. And then when she runs out of that room, she like runs around the corner and just like hides behind the wall. Like, she barely went 10 feet out that room. Clearly, he saw where you went. And then, instead of running downstairs, when she thinks the coast is clear, she runs upstairs to her apartment, locks the door, and just sits in a chair and starts rocking herself back and forth instead of trying to call the police right away. Like, what is she thinking? And then even the killer just gets bored with her. He's like, I'm done with this chase. The game time's over. And he stabs her. And it's like a silhouette shot. And so then we get the whole birthday scene, straight out of Happy Birthday to Me. This came out the same year, but I think this came out a few months after. I'd be curious to know if they purposely ripped it off, if they somehow knew while filming it, like, hey, they're doing this over there, and decided to throw it in here. I doubt it, but it's just a weird coincidence that there's 2 movies in the same year within like 6 months of each other that have the same exact like setup at the end. The whole dead bodies around the birthday table. Except in this movie, the dead bodies look like dummies. They look fake. They could be real, but they look pretty fucking fake. His motivation, the priest, I don't know what it is exactly. Is it that sermon he was given earlier? He's just mad at his twin niece for not accepting her twin sister. But he kills Mary, and it doesn't make any sense. He's like, oh, we're all here together finally. They all start laughing crazy and maniacally, and then he just starts stabbing Mary. It's like, you did all this to bring them together, now you're just stabbing Mary. And I do love the line he says where he's like, why is everyone so afraid of dying? It's not that bad. and he's just getting wackier. After he kills Mary, he is a full-on like Looney Tune at this point. He's like hopping around like he's doing hopscotch in there, and then he's like singing songs throughout the entire third act. Like when he's chasing that landlady, he's singing songs like church songs and all kinds of shit. He is bonkers. He's fucking wild. And that's what I love about this movie. The whole third act saves this film so much. I do enjoy a lot of moments in the first 2/3, but the last third of this movie kicks ass. We get the dog that punches a hole through the door with his own head. You got the dog's head through the door. The discount Tom Atkins dude, he's got the whole mustache going on, puts the dog in a headlock and it drills the dog's head in. It just lingers and it doesn't cut away. It is gory. It shows it all and it's awesome. Just drills the dog in its freaking face. And then for some reason, the uncle priest dude, he grabs Mary's dead body and he's like, rockabye baby, doing these little lullabies, and then lays her body on the staircase railing like it's a bed, just doing these random things that make no sense, just always granting other people the opportunity to try to escape. It's all fun and games to him, I guess. And then he's got the other guy at knife point, and then Julia sneaks up with the hatchet and starts hacking at his back again and again and again. And it just looks brutal. It's very graphic. Like, she's like hacking chunks out of his back. His back is falling apart. It is fantastic. And then Mary, she pops up for like one last scare. Just like in Scream, they always come back for one last scare. And then she just dies on the staircase. And then the movie ends with this weird quote about something about plots not making sense. I didn't read it all. What the hell, man? Like, why would the boyfriend put his speech on top of the cab, by the way? That was such a stupid thing. It's a windy day, and he puts his speech on top of the car, and the wind blows it all around, and he's like, oh, man, like he was surprised to happen. It's like, what did you think was going to happen, you idiot? You could have simply threw it in the cab, and it would have been all right, but you threw it on top of the cab to get blown away. You moron. But that's the end of the movie. Let's go over some awards. The Hockey Mask Award for Best Character in this movie, to me, is the killer priest, James, because of that just absolutely insane performance at the end. And the Hanky Award for Worst Character in this movie will go to Julia's twin sister, because I don't like her makeup, and I didn't like her annoying laugh, and I just thought she was just a weak villain compared to James. And the Clap Award for Best Scene in this movie will go to the birthday party, when we first see it all being set up, all the dead bodies around the table that look like dummies, the crazy priest singing and shit. Just everything from that moment on is gold. And the hottest chick in this movie will be Helen, Julia's best friend. And the Funny Bone Award for Funniest Moment is the priest being revealed as the killer with the landlady.
I've got to be going now.
Oh, no, you can't. You're invited to a party.
Oh, I couldn't. My horoscope says I shouldn't engage in social activities today.
I simply won't take no for an answer.
And the Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill in this movie will be the priest, Uncle James himself, getting his back all hacked to shit by a hatchet. And the Mr. Twig Award for Worst Kill in this movie will be Mary, who gets betrayed by her own uncle for some unknown reason. And those are my thoughts on Madhouse. Let me know what you thought about this weird, wild slasher movie in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.